How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have massive news for Bitcoin and for crypto. We have some big announcements coming in 48 hours. This is confirmed from the source. Some news about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. We also have some big buys, some upsized offerings, a lot of interesting stuff happening in the news today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. Also, coming at you with the baby here, with the dog here. Just saw some of the news and I thought, why not make a video? You know, the market's been looking pretty good recently. The baby has been doing well. Let's talk about what's happening in the news because there has been a lot. If you want to trade crypto, by the way, this isn't right for everyone. Not everyone should trade crypto because of temperament reasons or risk tolerance. But there are some links underneath the video to Blofin, to WEEX, to BTCC in case you want to start trading here today. Now, make sure you understand the risks before you do that. I will say, though, this has been a great time to trade. It's been a great time to be in the market in general. The fact is, altcoins are ripping. I saw Cardano up to like 130. We see Ripple at 270. Bitcoin is looking good. I know that it hasn't moved much. There was some fear today. I saw some people posting that, you know, the U.S. Marshal Service or the U.S. government was possibly going to sell some Bitcoin. They're moving Bitcoin to Coinbase. They'd moved 10,000 Bitcoin. This was planned since mid this year. The fact is they consistently send some of their Bitcoin over to Coinbase. They've been saying that they're going to sell all their Bitcoin by the end of the year. I'm not so sure about that with the strategic reserve possibly coming here soon. And we did get some news on that. Dennis Porter, who runs a Satoshi Act fund, who has been working with different states on legislation around Bitcoin reserves. I think he's talked to 3 or 4 different states. He's been talking about the massive calls he's been getting recently. He said that within 48 hours, he is actually going to jump on with Senator Lummis and talk about some big news that they have. And this is coming straight from the source. He's been working with multiple states. I would not be surprised to hear something about some state pushing forward a bill to buy some Bitcoin, or actually that they are going to go buy some Bitcoin. I would temper my expectations a little bit because we can't know exactly. And actually, as I'm recording, I can now officially confirm that 10 states are looking to introduce legislation about strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is coming from Dennis Porter. You can't make this stuff up. As I'm recording, he tweets that. So it'll be really interesting to see in 48 hours what he has to say. Again, I think the first state maybe is coming at us with some news. We also have more Tether being minted, another billion being minted at the Tether treasury. Okay, things are starting to kick off. What's that mean exactly? Well, there's more money coming into crypto. Money that comes into crypto oftentimes goes into USDT, and then it goes into buy altcoins or Bitcoin, whatever it is, goes to different platforms. But people like USDT as like an on-ramp into crypto. So when Tether mints, crypto usually does pretty well. And we know a lot of companies definitely looking at stablecoins too. So when Tether does well, the fact is companies see how well they're doing, how much money they can print because they're just taking that money and putting it into treasuries. They're not giving yield really to anyone. So as Tether grows, more companies want to come into crypto, more money wants to come into crypto, which benefits all of us. Now, with all that news coming later this week, what's happening here today? Well, like I said, Bitcoin not moving too much throughout the day. Some fear about the Coinbase thing, about the U.S. government sending some Bitcoin over to Coinbase. But we did have some big inflows. And sorry for the baby farting in the background, but we did see some big inflows. We saw another 300 million plus being bought by BlackRock, a couple hundred Bitcoin being bought by Fidelity. The fact is we saw about 4,000 Bitcoin being bought and only about 450 Bitcoin being mined. So yeah, things are getting interesting. Even though the price isn't moving, the fact is eventually with all this buying, there's just not going to be much Bitcoin left. And while we do have some people selling right now, that's less and less likely to happen in the future when nations, when BlackRock, when MicroStrategy just continue to swallow up the supply. Mara, speaking of swallowing up the supply, they were going to issue $800 million in convertible notes for 2031 at 0% interest. They just announced they're actually going up to $1 billion. It was oversubscribed. Imagine you go to a bank and you're like, hey, do you think I can get a 0% interest loan that I don't have to pay back for like 7 years? And they're like, you know what? Yes. And actually, you only wanted 80,000. I'm going to give you 100,000. Take it. Can you imagine that? That would be awesome, right? The fact is they're going to go buy some more Bitcoin. There's going to be volatility on the stock, even more volatility on the stock, which allows them to buy more Bitcoin. And this is going to continue to happen over and over and over and over. More and more companies are looking at this. I just got word of another company. I think it was a Canadian company. I can't remember what the name is, but they bought some Bitcoin too today. Now, is it a ton of Bitcoin? No, I think it was about 7.5 Bitcoin. But the fact is, enough small companies like this go and buy Bitcoin, it does make a difference, especially as time goes on. Like, their treasuries could be quite substantial. Imagine you're a company that maybe does $1 million a year in revenue. Maybe you have $1 million just sitting on the sidelines just in case of like another COVID type event. And then you put that into Bitcoin. Okay, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what are your revenues? Let's say you grow at 10% a year for the next 7 years. Your revenue doubles. So you're doing 2 million in revenue or 2 million in profits, however you want to break it down. What's Bitcoin going to be at in 7 years? I don't know, maybe 1 million? So you imagine that, right? Like 1 million, maybe a little bit aggressive, but your million in Bitcoin then turns into 10 million in Bitcoin. And you go from, 1 times revenue put in Bitcoin over to 5 times, because Bitcoin can move faster than your revenue. It can move faster than your profits. At least it can grow a lot faster. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. There's a lot of news out there. I would get ready for more news too, especially with the new presidency, with the inauguration day coming up. Keep in mind there are a lot of job info coming out this week, a lot of economic data coming out this week. The next week we have inflation data. Sorry, on one hand, I have the baby pushing me. On the other hand, I have the dog pushing me. But we have so much news coming out. Be ready for anything. We have Cardano moving. We have XRP moving. We have Solana actually taking a breather, which is kind of nice, honestly. That's probably a good thing for Solana holders, because it just means that it's like regaining strength. RSI is coming down. XRP RSI is moving up, definitely, because it's been so strong. If you want to see some of my recent XRP videos, though, I actually have a handful of them. I've been talking about it more and more because they've had so much news recently and so much bullish price action. You can check out the channel, hit subscribe for future videos like that. I also made a video just going through like what I'm thinking about the market, how I would deploy capital right now, what I think about the top 10 cryptos, all that kind of stuff. If you haven't seen that already, check it out. I think it's a really good video, but YouTube's not pushing it. It's literally one of my last couple of videos. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next 48 hours. Bye.